from Massachusetts is recognized for 1 hour.
So, Madam Speaker, for the purposes of debate only, I yield the customary 30 minutes to the gentlelady from Minnesota, Ms. Fishbach, pending which I yield myself such time as I may consume. During consideration of this resolution, all time yielded is for the purposes of debate only. I ask unanimous consent that all members be given 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, yesterday the Rules Committee met and reported a rule, House Resolution 1499, providing for consideration of 5 measures: H.R. 3372, H.R. 6878, H.R. 8876, H.J. Res. 100, and H.Con. Res. 119. The rule provides for consideration of both H.R. 3372 and H.R. 6878 under structured rules with 1 hour of debate, each equally divided and controlled by the Chair and the ranking minority member of the Committee on Judiciary, self-executes a manager's amendment from Chairman Nadler for each bill, makes and order 1 amendment for each bill, and provides 1 motion to recommit for each measure. The rule provides for consideration of H.R. 8878 under a closed rule with 1 hour of debate equally divided and controlled by the Chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Ways and Means, and provides a motion to recommit. The rule provides for consideration of H.J. Res. 100 under a closed rule with 1 hour of general debate equally divided and controlled by the Chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, and provides 1 motion to recommit. The rule provides for consideration of H.Con. Res. 119 under a closed rule with 10 minutes of debate equally divided and controlled by the Chair and ranking minority member of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. The rule provides the Majority Leader or his designee the ability this week to en bloc requested roll call votes on suspensions. The rule also provides roll call votes on suspension bills considered on November 29 may be postponed through December 2nd. Additionally, the rule deems as passed House Resolution 1495 and House Concurrent Resolution 118, and provides that during the remainder of the 117th Congress, it shall not be in order to offer a motion to instruct with respect to H.R. 4521. Madam Speaker, before we begin, I just want to take a moment to honor the life and service of our colleague, Congressman Donald McEachin, who passed away earlier this week. I've known Don for many, many years. We were both in the College Democrats when we were at American University many years ago. He was an exceptional public servant, fighting for the people of Virginia's 4th Congressional District since 2017, and having served on Virginia's General Assembly before that. Don was a fierce champion for social justice and a protector of the environment. He will be missed, and our prayers go out to his family, his friends, and his staff during this difficult time. Madam Speaker, we are here. Before us today are 3 bills. 1, to improve the current support system for formerly incarcerated individuals, 1, to ensure pregnant women in custody get the care that they need, and 1, to reauthorize a critical program that provides American families life-changing aid. We are also here to consider 2 resolutions that will help us avoid a catastrophic shutdown of our national railroad system. Let's talk specifics. First, we have H.R. 3372, the One-Stop Shop Community Reentry Program Act. Getting folks back on their feet after incarceration should involve more than a $10 bus ticket and the hope that they won't reoffend. But critical reentry programs and other lifelines for formerly incarcerated individuals are often located in different places, making it challenging to obtain comprehensive services. Studies show that these kinds of barriers to reentry support put individuals returning to their communities at risk of returning to the criminal justice system. The One-Stop Shop Community Reentry Program Act authorizes grants for community organizations to create centralized reentry intake and coordination centers. These centers would provide resources for housing, employment, education, and medical and mental health services all under 1 roof. This common sense bill will better support those who were formerly incarcerated and reduce reoffense rates. Second, we have H.R. 6878, the Pregnant Women in Custody Act. Roughly 58,000 pregnant women are admitted into prison every year. Unfortunately, many facilities fail to provide pregnant women with the necessary care, including an appropriate diet and medical care. They may even be shackled or put in restrictive housing for extended periods, which could threaten their ability to have a healthy and safe pregnancy. Incarcerated women deserve access to prenatal and postpartum care that can help prevent maternal health complications and ensure that newborns have a healthy start in life. The Pregnant Women in Custody Act establishes care standards for how federal facilities treat pregnant and postpartum women in custody, including requiring federal facilities to provide pregnant inmates access to medical and mental health services. We also have H.R. 8876, the Jackie Walorski Maternal and Child Home Visiting Reauthorization Act. This bill reauthorizes the transformative maternal, infant, and early childhood home visiting program that provides in-home services to improve maternal and child health, family safety and stability, child development, and school readiness. The program will be reauthorized for 5 more years and will receive a significant increase in funding so that the services the program provides can be made available to more mothers, to more families, and to more children. In my mind, there is no better way to honor the memory of our dear colleague, Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. She was an incredible friend of mine who worked tirelessly to improve the lives of children. And then we have H.J. Res. 100, legislation to provide for a resolution with respect to the unresolved disputes between certain railroads represented by the National Carriers Conference Committee and the National Railway Labor Conference and certain of their employees. H.J. Res. 100 adopts the tentative agreement that unions and railroads negotiated in September to avoid a rail shutdown. I am proud that our pro-union and pro-worker President and Labor Secretary, Joe Biden and Marty Walsh, fought hard to get a fair deal for railroad employees. This agreement secures significant advances for workers, including a 24% raise, no changes in copays, deductibles, or coinsurance costs, and increased safety protections. I want to be clear that this agreement is not perfect, which is why we will also bring to the floor H.Con. Res. 119, a separate resolution that we will debate and vote on today right after we consider the rail shutdown bill. This resolution would amend the rail shutdown bill to add paid sick leave for workers, an important policy that should be a fundamental right for all working Americans and that many of us have advocated for. Quite frankly, the fact that paid leave is not part of the final agreement between railroads and labor is, in my opinion, obscene. It should be there, and I hope it will be there at the end of this process. Democrats are putting people over politics to fight for workers. Every worker ought to have the security of fair wages. Every worker ought to be able to take a sick day if they need to. We saw that during the pandemic. This is an issue of basic fairness, but it is also an issue of public health. I mean, this is basic common sense stuff. The labor movement built America, and after decades of stagnant wages and declining benefits, I'm proud that the workers of this country are once again standing up for their rights and demanding changes. Their management ought to listen, and this Congress ought to listen too. By sending it as a separate resolution, we are giving the Senate the ability to take it up in addition to the main bill. If they don't have the votes to pass it, they can still send the bill averting a rail strike straight to the President. But the Senate ought to do the right thing and adopt this amendment. Democrats are going to continue to fight like hell, just like we have been doing for all of our workers, so they can have good wages, safe jobs, and paid sick leave. But we also need to listen to our labor leaders and rank and file. This underlying agreement was approved by labor and management negotiators in September, and since then, the majority of the unions in the industry have voted to approve the deal. So while I and others are reluctant to override standard ratification procedures, President Biden has called on Congress to act without delay to avoid what would be a catastrophic shutdown. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. The passage of H.J. Res. 100 and H.Con. Res. 119 would be a win for workers across the country. And I strongly urge the Senate to approve both resolutions so we can swiftly get them to the President's desk. I further urge all my colleagues to support this rule, and I reserve the balance of my time.
For what purpose does